Okay, hello and good morning. What I'm about ready to show you is for you. These are all rules that you need to understand and be able to do. So the question is, did you get them all right? So minus 0, put yes or no. If you did not get all of these right, then you're lacking some basic skills. So let's take a look up here. Before we begin, I want you to copy down and memorize these 4 rules. When you add or subtract, same signs, you add and keep the sign. When you multiply or divide, opposite signs, let me go back to this one, you subtract and keep the sign you have more of. These are rules you need to know, and you need to be able to write them down. So number 3, if it's the same signs, you get a positive. If it's opposite signs, you get a negative when you multiply or divide. Let's take a look using these rules. Now look right here. Does this one look like that one? Are those the same? No, they're not the same. They're opposite. So you need to subtract the numbers. So 10 minus 2 is 8, and you have more negatives. So you would say negative 8. And I used rule number 2 on that. Look at the next one. Does this one look like that one? The answer is yes. So the rule is you add the numbers, 10 plus 2, and you keep the sign. That's it. If you use these rules and memorize these rules, you will do much better. So whoever taught you algebra hopefully tried to teach you these rules. But at this point, you need to start memorizing this. Let's keep going. This is called a double sign here. A negative times a negative is a positive. Now, this is opposite that. So you subtract. 10 minus 2 is 8, but I have more minuses. Let's keep moving. This right here is a double sign. A positive times a negative, that's opposite, so that's going to be a negative. This one is now the same as that one, and if they're the same, you're going to add them and keep the sign. Last one, or 2 more. This one right here, you're going to get rid of this. A negative times a negative is a positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. Now, a positive and a positive, you're going to add these up. You're going to get 12. So it's basically going to be negative 7 plus 12. These are opposite signs, so you subtract. 12 minus 7 is 5, and you have more pluses. And that's it. And that's how you do that. Last one is a fraction. Now, if you never learned fractions, you need to do it. Here we go. A positive times a negative, or a negative times a negative is a positive. These signs are opposite, so I'm going to subtract. But before I do that, I got to find the same denominator. Now, here's how you find the least common denominator. Okay, I'm going to show you the easiest way. You have an 8 and a 3. So the question is, which one's the big one? Well, it's 8. So you take the big one, 8, and you say, does 3 go into 8? Evenly? No. Double it, 16. Does 3 go into 16? No. Triple it, 24. Does 3 go into 24? Yes. That's your least common denominator. So you have to make this a 24 and you have to make that a 24 whenever you add or subtract. So look here. And this is why I tried to get you to memorize your times tables. 8 times what is 24? Or 24 divided by 8 is 3. So you're going to multiply by 3. That's going to give you 24. This one, 3 times 8 is 24, so you're going to multiply this one by 8. So what you're going to get is a negative 15 over 24 plus 18 or 8 over 24. 1 times 8 is 8. Okay? So now I have the same denominator. Okay, so here I have more pluses. I'm sorry, more minuses. So the signs are different. Okay, opposite signs. That's rule number 2. So I subtract and I get 7 over 24. You don't subtract the bottom numbers, only the top numbers. But I have more minuses, so that's going to be a negative. And that's how you do fractions. And let's just review it, okay, because you got to know it. You take the bigger number and you ask yourself, does the other number go inside? Nope, double it. Does it go inside? Nope, triple it. And you keep going until you find the number where they both go into it. 8 goes into 24, and so does 3. So that's your least common denominator. So 8 times 3 is 24, and 3 times 8 is 24. And that's how you do that. Make sure you do that. All right, so hopefully you got them all right. If you didn't, think about what I'm trying to teach you. Remember, this is for you. All right, try these right here on a new sheet of paper. All right, let's take a look at the first one here. A negative times a negative is a positive. Two negatives make a positive. You multiply straight across. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 11 is 33, and you're done. That's a decimal. This one right here is division. Let's get rid of the sign first. A negative divided by a negative, that's 2 negatives. So we know it's a positive. But since it's division, you got to keep this one. You got to flip this one and change. Keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. Okay, so anyway, you keep this. It's going to be a positive 6 over 7. And then it's going to become times 42 over 41. Now, look, we already did the signs. So don't let that confuse you. Look, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So anyway, at this point, you would multiply. Well, I think 7 goes into 42. So 7 goes into 7 once. You can reduce any top number with any bottom. And then 6 times 7 is 42, so that's got to be a 6. So you're going to end up with 6 times 6 is 36 over 1 times 41 is 41. That's your answer. Let's keep moving. 0 divided by 2. You can have 0 in the top. Watch. 0 divided by 2 equals 0. That's okay. But you can't have 0 in the bottom. Watch. 2 divided by 0 is undefined. You get an arrow. So undefined. So 0 on the top, okay. 0 on the bottom, not okay. All right, make sure you memorize that. All right, let's keep going. Let's see if you can do order of operations. Remember, you got to work from the inside out. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So parentheses and exponents come first, then multiplying and dividing, and the last thing you do is adding and subtracting, and very important, from left to right. And so look here. I'm going to work from the inside out, and that's the way you do these. So rewrite it. So you're going to get negative 3. 4 minus 2 is 2. Like that. Don't be afraid to rewrite it, and I do want you to do that. So 3, that's a positive. Minus 5, that's going to be a positive, or a negative 2, rather. Okay, so I'm getting closer. Now exponents come next. So 2 squared is 4. So that's going to be negative 3 times 4. And then squared, minus a negative 2 times a negative 2 is going to be a positive 4. So that's going to be negative 3 times a positive 4, like that. So this right here now, you're going to multiply these and get a negative 12 squared. 12 times 12 is 144, and a negative times a negative is a positive because you got 2 negatives. This right here, a negative times a negative makes a positive. 3 times 4 is 12, and when you add that up, it looks like 156. Now look, the answers for today's worksheet are on the back. So look here. I gave you all the rules. Here are the answers down here. Now these you can't really see, so don't ask me what they are. we can just skip those, okay? Skip. All right, right here, I'd like you to write all 4 rules. So put add, subtract, rule 1, rule 2. Multiply, divide, rule 3, rule 4. And if you have to, copy them, but I want you to memorize them. All right, good luck. Use another sheet of paper if you have to. All right, have a good day. And remember, this is for you.